Hello Internet, this is David with Yoyo 101. Today I'm going to be giving you some advice on choosing when a yo-yo for using and learning from this channel. Okay, so the first thing you definitely want to think about is the price. Now, if you're a younger kid, like maybe 10, you probably want to only spend $10 to $20 on a yo-yo. Now, if you're a teenager, you could maybe spend 40, 50. If you're an adult, you can spend pretty much as you'd like. But if you're a beginner, then you probably want to spend 50 at most. If you're a little more advanced, you can maybe spend a little over that. But I would definitely recommend getting $40 to $50 yo-yo if you're starting out. Now, for our 1A tutorials, we're only going to be using unresponsive yo-yos. Now, unresponsive yo-yos are yo-yos that can't be brought up just by jerking your finger, unless you got a knot in it. You need to do something called a bind, which we'll give a tutorial for later. You want to make sure that you get an unresponsive yo-yo for this course, because the tricks will become so long at one point that a responsive yo-yo just isn't going to work out. So make sure you purchase an unresponsive yo-yo, or else you're really going to have a hard time getting these longer tricks. Alright, next up are bearings. Now, these are what keep yo-yos spinning. They're actually using machines, the ball bearings. And the bearings themselves are basically two rings with ball bearings inside of them. Right there, the bearings. Right there. And they're basically two different shapes. One, there's the grooved shape right there. You see it's grooved. Then there's the other one, it's a flatter shape. Like that. Now, when you're choosing a yo-yo, you probably want to choose a yo-yo with a grooved bearing. And if it doesn't come with a grooved bearing, then I recommend getting a grooved bearing in addition, because the way the grooved bearing helps is that when the string is on there, it's always going to want to stay in the middle because it's grooved inwards. Now with the flatter bearings, it's just going to sway around, so this will keep it centered. Now, the next thing that I'm going to teach you about in choosing yo-yo are the shapes. Now, first off, there's one called the O shape. This one is the whip. You can see it's curved, so it looks like it could be part of an O if you took two of these and put them together. That is the O shape. This is the more classic yo-yo shape right here. And then you have the W shape, which I don't have one, a yo-yo with the W shape, but I will be posting a picture up on the screen. And now the next one is the H shape. This one is an H shape right here. You can see it's a V shape, which I'll be telling you about in a little bit, and then it kind of curves like that, so it looks a little bit like an H. And then you have this, the V shape. You can see the sides go pretty much straight angle like that, instead of like the O shape where it curves. It goes pretty much straight right there. And when you're choosing out a yo-yo, for one thing, you gotta determine the look that you want. I personally prefer the V shape, but some people like O shapes or W shapes or whatever. But you also have to think about practicality. Now, the O shape, for one thing, if you get a knot in there, it's really going to be hard to take it out. You're going to have to take a paper clip, or you're going to have to unscrew it. So that's one reason I don't get O shapes much. And then the H shapes like this is a little bit better, but you can't get knots quite as well. So that's one reason I like the V shape better. I also like the looks better, but that's just my opinion. So consider the shapes when you're choosing out a yo-yo. Next thing that I'm going to give advice about in choosing a yo-yo is size. Now, you have oversized, middle-sized, and undersized. Now, this is pretty relative because these yo-yos actually are just millimeters different in diameter, so I wouldn't make too big a fuss about it, but the oversize is good for landing on the string because it has a bigger gap, it's easier to land on the string. Then the middle size is kind of the best of both worlds. You get the small size and the larger size. But then the smaller size is good for getting more complex tricks, and it also is easier to keep in your pocket too. You usually have to buy a holder for one of these, but you can just fit one of these in your pocket. But one of the cons of this is that it is sometimes harder to land on the string, but this one is harder to do in tight tricks. So, if you're getting a yo-yo, I would probably recommend getting a medium size, so then you get the best of both worlds. But if you are, doing, say, trying to perfect your bind, or if you just like the looks of the yo-yo, then I say go for the oversized. But if you're doing tighter tricks or more advanced, I'd recommend doing the undersize. So in this video, I've covered price ranges, shapes, bearings, sizes, but bottom line, guys, it's all preference. So you might like a style I don't like, I might like a style you don't like. It's your yo-yo, you're buying it. So this video is just advice for choosing a yo-yo. You don't have to follow it, it's just advice. I hope it was helpful though. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.